What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in, those that are watching live, and also those that are watching after the fact. Yeah, welcome. Fun week here. We got week 7. Still got my boy Juicy J, and yeah, we're just talking a little bit of football. It's a fun week. We had a really good, finally a really high scoring Thursday night game. Thank God, but most of that was due to 2 pick-sixes at the end of the half. Yeah,
Last week was awesome.
yeah. Last week was really good, and then this week. I mean, this week wasn't bad, right? So we had a lot of action. I was happy this week. I need this right here. Yeah. So this week we're talking a little bit of start sits. We're talking a little bit of matchups, all that jazz.
I'm ready if you are. Let's get it.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing, how about we just kind of cover some inactives? I know DeAndre Swift inactive again. It's kind of frustrating if you're a Swift owner because, I mean, you drafted him to be your guy, and he has just been kind of mid-tier, I would say. I mean, I don't think there's anything. Motherfucker, somebody got Pachenko in this league. I'm so mad.
He's been out a couple games prior to the bye, so you thought with the bye he would be back this week.
We had James Conner inactive, and Michael Thomas was inactive for your Thursday night game. Other big inactives, Christian McCaffrey is looking to play. He'll probably be on a limited play basis just because he doesn't know that offense yet. And I've heard that Kyle Shanahan, I mean, he's got a very complicated offense. So, he said he's not sure if he'll play, but he is planning on playing. Elijah Moore not playing post his decision to trade. Kind of an interesting thing. I mean, that's an up-and-coming team, but they did not target him last week. He was kind of pissed, and so he said, "Nah, I want to trade." John Taylor, optimistic to play, but something to kind of keep an eye on. Jamar Chase, he was having a hip problem. He is playing. T. Higgins cleared the injury report, so that's good. J.K. Dobbins, probably time to give up on him. He just went back on IR. That's 4 more weeks. This week 7. You're looking at week 11, 12, post-surgery, then a week to get recovered. You're looking at week 13, 14. If you've got an IR spot you're not using, sure. If you are using your IR spots, I think it's time that you can sail on him. We'll talk about who I like as my replacement there in a minute. Julio Jones is out. Cameron Brate is out. Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney are both out. So John Taylor is officially cleared. Dak Prescott's officially cleared. Keenan Allen and Tyler Lockett are both questionable. Something to keep an eye on. I know.
Poor Keenan.
Yeah, it's hamstring injuries; those linger. So if I'm a Keenan owner, I've made it this far without him. I'm okay waiting a week or 2 more so that he can get 100%. Because what I don't want is to play him and he re-aggravate it.
Yeah.
Mac Jones practiced. I don't know if he'll play this week. I think Zappy's still the guy for this week, but good to see. Schultz knees clear. Saquon Barkley's shoulders cleared. Damian Harris got full practice. I still think it's Ramondre's show. Darren Waller was ruled out. Interesting, to say the least.
I'm fine with these unexpected rule outs as long as they come back
right
strong.
Yeah,
I'm always fine with the precautious rule out.
CMC officially supposed to play. DeAndre Swift questionable, is now out. Mark Andrews questionable, but is expected to play with a knee injury. Keenan said he's waiting for this week to feel how he feels. Quarterback Russell Wilson out
from eating that danger witch.
He's got a partially torn hamstring. So, yeah. And then last one, CEH is going to be not a healthy scratch, but he's been benched. So, keep your eye on CEH. He may be out for a little while.
I want to add one. Rashad Bateman's questionable.
Bateman's questionable. Okay. Gotcha.
I think that's important considering the Mark Andrews one that you said.
Yeah. No. I and Dobbins is out. So that's going to be an interesting one there where there's multiple guys out. But yeah, I mean, we can rattle off right into that first game. Dallas-Detroit. Detroit's kind of been cooking a little bit. We like Detroit. They're 1-4 though. They have a strong offense. For me though, I think this offense runs into a very strong defense. I mean, what they played Philly's defense already, and they actually played Philly's defense really well.
Especially in the second half.
Yeah. Dak Prescott comes back. He gets a pretty lackluster Detroit defense. I look for him to have a pretty big day. I'm starting Dak pretty much over anyone because most of the good guys are on bye. So, I'm starting Dak probably in 99% of my leagues. I think he'll have a good game. I mean, he needs to show that he's still the quarterback, and they're going to probably get him working in pretty quick. And I think this is an easy Dallas win as long as they manage the ball.
I got a question for you since you're the Cowboys guy.
Yes, sir.
So you said you like Dak, and I think you have to start him too, just because of the matchup. But do you think it's more of a passing game for Dak, or do you think it's more like less volume but more efficient, and then they lean more on the run?
Oh, I've been reading that they still want to continue this run game, right? So that's what, and they've wanted to do this prior to Dak's injury as well, because we did see it when they were in Tampa Bay. They were leaning on that run game, and I think that's how this team is going to be built, right? They're not going to try to get behind. They're going to try and go back to Dak's rookie year, where they rush the ball. Don't make Dak have to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
As we saw last year, he was in all of these crazy, or 2 years ago, I guess it was, when he was coming back against Atlanta and had to put up 50 points in the game. But they don't want that. Dallas doesn't want to score 50. They want to score, 20, keep you to 13, and in the game, low scoring, just a good win. I think Dak works it down the field. I think he's methodical. He's just kind of picking you apart. It's a 250-yard game. It's not 400 or 500 yards like had before.
Like 250 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, something simple like that. And it might not even be 2 touchdowns. It might be 250 yards, 1 touchdown, and maybe 20 yards rushing. I think he's a good 18 to 20 point play this week. And with guys like the bye weeks, with guys like Josh Allen out, Matt Stafford's not a big one, but the other buys are Kirk Cousins and Jalen Hurts. I mean, you're looking at, okay, I need a backup quarterback.
Right.
Essentially. And I think he's on that QB1 fringe. Could he have 2 touchdowns? Sure. I think Dalton Schultz will snag one and CD will snag one. Or no, it'll probably be like Schultz and Gallup. Or like a Schultz and Pollard out of the backfield. Something crazy like that. He gets his 2 touchdowns. You're okay because, you're not. What's the over-under in that game? It is 49.5. I honestly don't see that going. I feel like they're going to run the ball. And Detroit's gone on the over all but 1 game this year. But I just don't see the offenses. Dallas's game. Run the clock, drain the clock. That's how
it was also their most recent game. And they put up 0.
They put up 0. So, they're wheeling and reeling. So, yeah. On the Lions side, I'm not starting Jamal. Last week they put up 0. The run game didn't look that good. I'm also not starting Goff. I'll start Hawkinson because Dallas has always been give up a little bit of yards to a tight end, mostly because Leighton Vander Esch is the guy that plays coverage on the tight ends, and he more wants to stop the run. So I think Hockenson has a chance. I also think Amon-Ra, and those are the two I'm starting. I don't think I'm going to mess with Reynolds. I don't think I'm going to mess with anybody else on that team.
Yeah, I definitely see this going like favorably game script wise for Dallas. I think Detroit's going to throw it a lot, so I think Amon-Ra is a good play. I think he has a pretty safe floor.
Yeah, I mean that's what you get with Amon, right? You're getting those 10 targets. You're getting a safe floor.
I think I'd be fine with starting Jamal, especially if you're kind of reeling right now with the bye weeks. You got Miles Sanders on bye, you got Dalvin Cook on bye. So I think you're fine starting Jamal. I would set expectations appropriately. But I think you can run on this Dallas defense. And Detroit has the O-line to do it as long as they don't have injury problems that I'm unaware of. But yeah, I think you could play Jamal, and I think they will be throwing a lot more because they're down though.
Yeah.
But I mean, with Swift out, I mean Jamal could catch it out of the backfield too.
He could. This Dallas defense has been pretty good against the run this year. And it's not that they're good against the run; they just limit the run, and it's more so they're limiting those rushing touchdowns. They'll give up some yards, but unfortunately, the way things are nowadays, you have to either get catches or you have to get the touchdowns as a running back because the yards are, meaningless. Unless you're rattling off 100, but that's not Jamal's game. So I think he's flex worthy, but I think there are better options, and most teams probably have better options.
His projected is 13.1.
Okay, I saw 12.9 in like sleeper. So
yeah.
I'd
probably go below that. I think he could be salvageable. Like I think it'll be like 10.1, like 10, 11.
Right. I don't see him dropping 20. I don't see him dropping 15. I could see 12. I could see 13. I think that 15 mark is going to be tough for him. So I'm cautious. I think there are better options again.
Yeah.
I think if you have a wide receiver, I'd rather play the wide receiver just for the pure PPR aspect. So
I see like 7.5 to like 11 is like that area for him.
Yeah. And it's safe. There are a lot of buys this week, but again, I'm taking it with a grain of salt, right? It's all about who you have on your roster. And I think if you have a better option, then you should. Fair. Next, taking Dallas?
Yes. Yeah.
And I mean, it's a 7-point game for Dallas. I think Vegas has got that probably right on. I don't think they're winning by 20. But I think it's a pretty manageable game for them. I think it's 7 to 10 points, maybe up to 13, but I would be okay taking the 7-point line as well. Next up, we have Atlanta versus the Bengals. We talked Ja'Marr Chase is in. Atlanta's been a little sneaky, right? So this is a team that didn't look on paper to be a 3-win team at this point. And then on the other side, the Bengals did not look to be a 3-win team at this point. So this is an interesting matchup, something to watch here. A great streaming option for me is going to be Marcus Mariota. He's got the rushing aspect that you love to see in quarterbacks. Those rushing yards are so much more valuable than a passing yard. So, if you can get a hold of him and you're needing to replace a Josh Allen, you're needing to replace a Jalen Hurts, I think he is a pretty decent option, depending on the size of your league. Super flex leagues, I think he should have been rostered already. Other guys, Drake London. I like Drake London. Kyle Pitts, we saw a little bit out of him last week. I don't know. I mean, he still hasn't caught a U.S. touchdown yet.
No, the problem is he's Was last week's game was overseas?
No, 2 weeks ago.
Hold on. I thought he had like 3 catches for 10 yards and a touchdown last week.
Was it against San Fran?
I'm pretty sure.
So is that Mercedes-Benz?
Yeah, 3 catches, 19 yards, and a touchdown.
Okay, so he finally got it.
That the volume though is what's concerning to me because he's not going to get a touchdown every week.
Yeah, it was 3 touchdowns on 3 targets. The other big thing is this is a team that runs the ball, right? So they are currently number 1 in rush attempts. And last week it was 16 with Huntley and 15 with Algier. Neither of those guys are really, lighting my whistle up.
If I had to pick one, though, it'd probably be Huntley because of the red zone.
I would probably pick Huntley as well. I think Pitt still has it in him. It's just the game script and the game plan that this team has been doing is just not it for me.
I'm not investing in 3 targets.
No, the target share is not there. I think you could buy him extremely low if you're in a dynasty league because next year I think things are going to change. They're going to, if they keep winning, it won't. But Mark Andrews, Bateman, and Watkins officially active. So things are going to change, I hope, but maybe not. On the other side, San Fran, crazy trade. They got CMC. He's going to play. I'm not starting him this week. I think it's going to be on a limited basis. I do think they're going to try and get him worked in. Now, obviously, if you're looking at your bench and it's like trash, CMC on a new team or trash, you're going to play, right?
Hey, buddy, the Falcons are playing the Bengals. We're not on the Niners game yet.
I was looking at last week's San Fran.
Before we switch to the Bengals, I like your Mariota take because he's rushed for over 50 yards 3 times this year, and 2 have been in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, he's rushing. It's valuable.
And they're winning that way.
Drake London, I'm playing. I mean, I do think this will be a shootout. The over-under is 48. I think it'll be a shootout, and I think there is some value, especially for Drake London, possible value for Kyle Pitts.
I feel much more comfortable with London than Pitts between the pass catchers.
Since we've got Joe Burrow, I mean, he's coming off a hell of a game. I think he had, 38 points or something.
That Louisiana reunion.
Jamar Chase is finally looking like Jamar Chase. He posted a game that wasn't 12 points after 3 straight 12-point performances. Higgins was back. It was a little slow game, but he was hurt. Don't worry about Higgins. He's going to be fine. Joe Mixon continues to be Joe Mixon. He's not pretty. He's not flashy. He's not 30 points a week, but damn if he doesn't get you 15 consistently.
The volume's crazy. The dude's a lock for 20 carries a game.
One thing I was thinking, and looking into, I think Saman P. Ryan has a very strong handcuff value at this point based on the volume, right? So what you look at Joe's getting, they would give to Samanji. I mean, that's just how they're working right now. They let a guy get going and stay going. So if Mixon is to get hurt, and we do not root for hurt players at all, but I think Samanji would be an interesting handcuff. I think right now in the season, not many people have roster spots for handcuffs. You shouldn't, but if you do, Samanji P. Ryan, grab them right before just grab them right before the game starts.
It's another one of those instances where you could just click to watch him. You don't got to add him. Just keep tabs on him. Make sure he's at the top of your list if something happens. Make sure you have enough budget set aside to be able to bid on him.
Yeah. Hayden Hurst, interesting player. He's got some value just purely on the target shares he's been gaining. I do think as Higgins gets healthier, I think Hurst goes down.
I agree.
So, I think he's still playable. I think there's better options out there, obviously, but I do think he's playable. No, nothing wrong with that.
I mean, the
Are you
matchup's
playing
fine.
him or Freiermuth?
I would probably go Freiermuth.
I think so too. But I think they're right in that same area.
I think you could play either though. Like
which
the matchup.
which tight end would you play in this game if you had to play a tight end?
I'd probably play Hurst.
I probably would as well.
I mean, he's been more consistent.
Yeah, I mean, he's having 6-7 targets a game. I want that versus 3, and 1 just happened to be in the red zone.
And it's not like Burrow's not efficient with his targets. Like
right.
I don't have to worry about that.
There's more pie to go around, right? So you're thinking Burrow's going to throw it 50 times versus Mariota, who throws it 12, 15. Yeah. So I'm leaning Bengals. You going Bengals?
Yes, I am going Bengals.
I like
but
that.
I'm happy for the Falcons. So if they win, I won't be.
If they win, I'd be impressed. Colts versus Tennessee. Matt Ryan has not been the most effective, but he has gotten guys involved. I mean, last week we saw Paris Campbell get involved. We saw Pittman have a 25-point week. And my little sleeper, Alec Pierce, has been having a decent last couple weeks. I think he's a name to watch. We talked about this last week, right? So I don't think he's a must-add just because there are 2 guys above him. You know, Paris Campbell has some potential to take it from him, but I think Alec Pierce is gaining trust. So as we move on, we may see Alec Pierce get more involved. If you have a spot, stash him. You know, you don't have to play him, but if you have to play him, I think he's okay to play. I said last week he was okay to play, and he got you 12 points off that late touchdown. If you didn't have that touchdown, it was rough. He only had like 3 up until that point, but and I think it was an overtime touchdown maybe, or right there to get him towards it. But the big question here is going to be John Taylor, right? So Deion Jackson last week, 28 carries, 28 fantasy points. Stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Why have they not done this with John Taylor? Like Deion Jackson had 10 catches. You're telling me he's a better receiving back than John Taylor?
Maybe it took them Taylor being out to realize how they should utilize the running back this year.
Yeah, I mean, he's not.
Because I can't think of any other reason.
Yeah, he's not a better receiving back than Nyheim Hines. I can tell you that. The dude is a receiving weapon. So just kind of curious as to what the Colts continue to do there. John Taylor is back. He's officially active. Are you starting him this week?
Not this week.
Okay.
No, because he's active, but Deion's still going to be in the mix this week. It's going to take away, and I don't know how many touches Jonathan Taylor is going to get. I don't really like dealing with unknowns, so I'd probably look to go elsewhere.
Yeah, and I think that you and I pretty much follow the almost to a T. And granted, there are exemptions, but you and I follow the first game back injury avoidance rule. Now, granted, we're avoiding that on Dak this week. I think his injury was a little different, but skeletal or big injuries, so like hamstrings, ankles, things that take a lot of stress, I try to stick to the first game back avoidance rule. And if it hurts me, it hurts me. Last week you could have done it with Higgins. You would have avoided. It would have been okay. For the most part, it's good. So I'm avoiding him first game back. Next week, if I see what I like this week, sure. Yeah.
Well, I mean, with me, yes, I agree. And I believe we do follow that. However, I mean, if he's limited right off the bat, to me, it's just why would you start him? It's just as simple as that. Like, if he's not in his usual role, with injuries aside, if he's not in his usual role, why would you start him?
So they have him ranked currently at running back 7. At what point do you start him? Is he running back 15 for you? Is he running back 20 for you?
I would have to know who's in the area. I could pull it
7
up.
is Chubb, Fournette, Mixon. 15 is Ramondre, Zeke, Damian Pierce. 20 is Etienne, Brian Robinson, Jamal Williams. And 30 is Algier, Hunt, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Melvin Gordon.
I think I would. Well, obviously, I would take the chance and start him over Melvin Gordon. I would start him over Brian Robinson just because the Commanders' offense is so bad. But I love Robinson's volume. I just don't think the touchdown saved Robinson last week.
Yeah, it did. Thank God.
But his yards per carry, hopefully that doesn't continue. Hopefully that's just him working back and the offensive line having a bad game. But I don't know. Probably at the tail end of that, 15 to 20 range. So 17, 18, somewhere around there. I don't think he should be 7 right off the bat. That's kind of crazy to me.
Right. I think they're definitely putting him too far up just because of who he is. And, I think he's in that 15 range. I think he can do what Zeke's going to do this week, which is, don't get me wrong, Zeke had a great week last week, but it's how Dallas is running it. They alternate, and they're not, breaking off these crazy long things. So I think he's in that Zeke range. Other guys in that range, the David Montgomery, the Najee, because we've seen what Najee's doing. It's not that impressive. The Aaron Joneses, the Mo Starts. I think he could do that or be a little bit less than that.
The reason why I said that the reason why I didn't say I would start him over Jamal is because Jamal's the only one. Right. It's not the best matchup, but at least he's the primary back. With this John Taylor, Deion Jackson situation for at least this week, and it'll probably be the last week it's a thing, but you don't know who's going to be the primary back.
Are you starting Brian Robinson or Jamal?
Brian Robinson's against the Packers.
Yep.
And Jamal, I would start Brian Robinson.
I think so too, just because Jamal has to face that Dallas.
Well, and that's how you attack that Packers defense. You run the ball.
Yeah. Tennessee. Robert Woods looked pretty decent the last 2 weeks. Other than that, Derrick Henry. And I'm cautious with Derrick Henry because I just don't like this team. I think they're going to give Derrick Henry his touches, but that's what they're going to do. So stack the box. Derrick Henry will get his, but they've got him ranked number 3. I think he's better in the 8-9 range.
I agree with you.
I feel much more confident starting Chubb, Fournette, Mixon, Kamara. Kamara already played. And Josh Jacobs over Henry, just because I don't think that Tennessee is dynamic enough to get Henry. They're not a threat, so you can stack the box.
Especially with Jacobs' matchup. Yeah. Normally I wouldn't include him, but that matchup is crazy.
Matchup's so good. With that said, Colts or Titans?
Titans won the first game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pick the Titans to go for the sweep.
Okay, I'm going Colts. I just like what they did last week. It looks like they're getting back to the run. Jackson looked good. They're getting their receivers involved. The only thing that scares me a little bit is Matt Ryan, but Tannehill's just as bad. So, all right.
Not a game that I'm gonna be paying too close attention to.
No.
Except for the running back situation.
See, I don't have either one of them, so I'm not even going to be – the only player I have is Alec Pierce, and I like Alec Pierce. And Mo Alley Cox has been playing pretty well. Just keep an eye on Mo Alley as well. Matt Ryan has been known to have pretty decent tight ends at times. Green Bay Packers, Washington Commanders. I mean, Green Bay, rumor has it they're going to go out and get DJ Moore. I think that would be great because the wide receiver room is just confusion. One week it'll be Lazard, one week it'll be Romeo, one week it'll, they've got Aaron Rodgers, so you can't count them out of anything. But this is just not a team that. It's not the team of old. The defense isn't quite what I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be a top 10 defense. It's not. It's kind of that mid-tier 15 to 18 defense. But on the flip side, Washington has just their defense for what they have. I mean, they have some absolute studs, and they still just mid-tier defense, 15 to 18. Granted, they've had some rough spots, but you got Chase Young, and he's not getting sacks. You've got
Daron Payne.
Yeah, Payne, Sweet, or Sweat.
Montez, yeah.
Good. And they have big – they got –
Jonathan Allen.
Yeah, I was going to say Josh Allen, but it's Jonathan Allen. The other Josh Allen is Jaguars? Is that where the –
Josh Allen, yeah.
Yeah. So – they've got boys. The defense just hasn't been, and I like Benjamin St. Juste too, by the way. I don't know why. I just like him. I think Green Bay can handle them. I'd like to see Washington figure their shit out, though. So Wentz isn't out there, which is a huge upgrade at quarterback, no matter what anyone says. Now, I know people were buying into Wentz at the beginning of the year. Wentz is absolutely garbage, and I will stick by that. Do not let anyone lied to you. Wentz is still garbage. So it's Heineke, right?
Yep.
Beautiful.
I love it.
Expect Scary Terry to actually be back. It's been rough being a Terry owner.
Yes, it has.
But he should be back. Curtis Samuel should still have some value. I'm not playing Curtis Samuel, though, unless I have to. I would start Scary Terry. Ooh, but he will have Jair Alexander on him.
They play a lot of zone, though.
They do. So I'm still starting Scary. I'm gonna stick with my guns. I'm gonna start Scary Terry.
Heineke's got some rushing upside too.
He does. I don't like the way this team's built. So I'm probably avoiding everyone but Terry on that team. Green Bay side, Lazard, probably a good go for me. Romeo Doubs, I could also see you playing low end flex. Rodgers has been not fantasy relevant, so keep an eye on him because as soon as we count him out, he has like a 4-touchdown game. And there's quarterbacks on bye this week, so I think if you have a Rodgers, you're probably playing him. I don't like that. Huh?
What did you say about Lazard?
I'd play him.
And you had Doubs as a low tier flex?
Yeah, I think Lazard's probably a higher tier flex right now, and Doubs is a low tier flex. But the injury to Cobb really helps both of them.
And Watson's out too.
Yes, yeah. So I think that helps both of them. I do think this running back, it's still a mess. I think you play whichever one you have. I think you probably sit both.
I'm not playing AJ Dillon. I have AJ Dillon.
Good up front. I'm just not confident in these running backs. It kind of reminds me of the old New England running backs where you're like, shit, one of them's going to do good. I don't know who it is. I don't want to play either one of them. Yeah. Again, it depends on who you have, but I'm sitting both in my leagues that I own them.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and provide some comfort. I think this is a 10-plus target game for Doubs.
Doubs, I would like that.
We saw a stretch where he had 11 2 games in a row, and I think this is a good matchup. And I think with the injuries, I think this screams 10-plus targets.
I like it. Yeah, and I think that's your low-end flex, right? Because he'll catch 7 of them for 45 yards. The low-end flex contention.
Who knows what they're going to do inside the 10? It could be Lazard. It could be Tunyon. It could be
Either the running back.
Dillon, Jones. But I think Dubs is the guy that drives them down the field.
Yeah, I like Dubs still. You going Packers to win?
No.
Going Commanders?
Yeah, I don't have any faith in this Packers offense until they show me.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just think the Packers are probably the better all-around team. I think they have more weapons everywhere. So I'm going Packers.
Oh yeah, it's definitely an upset pick, but it's one on one.
No, I like it. I like the upset. Tampa Bay versus the Panthers. Panthers are in a hot garbage situation. They're fire selling everybody. However, we've bet against Tampa Bay twice because Giselle took all of Tom Brady's magic. He needs a slump buster. Does he get one in Charlotte, North Carolina? I don't know. Maybe. But I do think this is the slump buster game. I'm going to go Tampa Bay. And I'm going to say Tom actually gets it going. So, you're Mike Evans, you're Godwin. They're going to explode. Fun one to watch. Look at Cade Otton, right? So we just lost Cameron Brate. Cade Otton has a chance to make a role for himself here and then carry that into the next couple of games. So keep an eye on Cade Otton. And then playoff Lenny is playoff Lenny, so you play him.
Then on the Panther side, I might say DJ Moore in the flex this week just because they're going to pepper him and try and increase his trade value.
Yeah, and I think that's probably your best bet, right? Do we know who's starting at quarterback? I know Darnold.
PJ Walker.
Darnold was off the IR, but
PJ.
Yeah, so PJ still. Yeah, DJ Moore is about the only one I want. I did pick up Chuba Hubbard, but I mean and Donta Foreman, but you're going against Tampa Bay's rush defense. Like
Foreman's going to be the one to play though moving forward, not Hubbard.
Yes, agreed 100% there. But if you're picking a week to play them, it's not this week.
No.
You going Tampa Bay?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Jacksonville Jaguars, New York Giants. For some reason, the Jaguars are the 3-point favorite this week.
Yeah, I mean, the home team usually gets 3 points from Vegas, so Vegas is telling you that these teams are pretty even. It just so happens that the Jags are the home team.
Yeah, I mean, what do the Jags have that's better than the Giants, though? Wide receivers?
That's probably it.
Yeah, I mean, other than the wide receiver room, I mean, you could argue Lawrence is better than Daniel Jones, but not the way Daniel Jones has been playing. I
would argue that the Jags probably have better edge rushers, but the Giants balance that with having a better interior defensive line.
Yes. Yeah. So, but I mean, defensive-wise, I'm taking the Giants' defense in a whole versus this Jaguars defense. I think play calling has been much better for the Giants. I don't see the Giants letting Jacksonville. I mean, 3-point favorite is not. No. I think the Giants will win this one. This is a pretty easy one for them. I don't know why they're the favorite. So something's up, but look for Barkley to get open, find holes, do work. Wide receiver wise, they're banged up. Sills is still there, I guess. Let's see who all is active because it changes. Tony was ruled out.
Perfect segue. I actually like Bellinger in this game.
They're tight end. Okay, the tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's also Richie James. He's actually played pretty well during the last stretch. Is Wan'Dale healthy? That's the question. Because if Wan'Dale is healthy, he is healthy. I'm starting Wan'Dale Robinson. I think he's going to continue to break out this week. Give me Wan'Dale for a touchdown and 50 yards. Because somebody's got to do it. And I think Barkley will get his, but I think Wan'Dale actually has a great game. And I liked him coming out of college. I thought he was a good pick. They invested in him because they needed running back or they needed wide receiver help. And I like Bellinger. That's a good pick there.
Thanks, man.
Jacksonville, maybe
ETN.
Kirk. Yeah, ETN's cooking. James Robinson still has some very low end flex value to me, but it's very low end. You should have sold him when we told you 3 weeks ago to sell his ass. We weren't huge on ETN, but we were not big on James Robinson. Christian Kirk still has value, but it's been interesting. He hasn't been having the target shares he had originally. So he's, started the season off with 10 plus targets every game. Now he's down to like 4 or 5. He did get the touchdown, which saved us last week if you own Kirk, but I'm probably avoiding him until I see who really breaks out as the guy. Is it Marvin Jones? Is it Christian Kirk? Is it Zay Jones? I don't know. So I'm kind of.
It seems like by committee right now. So
right. It's, hey, get open, whoever's open. I do think Trevor Lawrence has value as well, but not this week. I don't think you play him this week over a guy like Geno, over guys like Dak, people like that. But I do like Trevor Lawrence moving forward because he's gotten it done this season. And I think he's QB 10. You going Giants as well?
I'm going Giants, and I'm going with ETN, obviously, over Robinson. And this will support your low end flex value for Robinson as well. But the Giants are still allowing over 5.5 yards a carry. So I think that supports playing James Robinson in a flex situation, and then ETN as an RB2 as well. So, yeah, you could run on the Giants. I would probably take pause, like you said, on Jags receivers until we see something more. But the running,
because it's there. I mean, if you want to throw a dart and pick one, somebody's going to pop, but you don't know who, and so
yeah. But running game, that's all the statistical evidence you need.
Okay, I like it, but I do think Giants cover, especially the 3. I think the Giants might lay 7 or 8 on Jacksonville. I think it's a decent game. They've been winning close games, but I think they get going. Barkley's going to lead them to the promised land this week.
That's mirrors for Giants money line.
Yeah, take the Giants money line, dude. If you could get the Giants money line right now, God, what is it? Let's see. I'll tell you what it is. I would take it. If you're taking an underdog, and I would take it. Has the line moved at all?
It was still 3 when I saw it, and I checked it right before we went on.
Right, but has it? What was it originally? God, you get plus 145. That's so nice. Why would you not take that? I don't know.
Let's see.
That's what DraftKings has them at. FanDuel has them at plus 4.2.
It opened at 3. It's been 3 the whole time.
They know something, man.
Yeah, it's weird that the line.
I'm parlaying them in something so that I can get the boost.
It's weird that the line hasn't changed. Usually it changes in some form or fashion.
Yeah. I guess people are big on this Jacksonville team, not me. And people have continued to doubt this Giants team too. And I think we both picked last week them to upset, I believe, because we just didn't like Aaron Rodgers and didn't like a London game.
You're thinking of the Jets. The Jets played the Packers.
Or who 2 weeks ago when the
I picked the Ravens to beat the Giants, but they upset somebody else before that too.
Green Bay in right? Didn't they beat Green Bay in? Yeah, they beat Green Bay in London. And I think we both had them because we just didn't like Green Bay. People are still underappreciating this team, and I think their coach has got them going. So not a team I really want to bet against. Speaking of taking the Ravens, beating somebody, Browns versus Ravens. We're still a couple weeks out from getting Deshaun back. Browns have been okay with Jacoby. Chubb's been running really well. Continue to run Chubb. I'm avoiding Kareem Hunt at all costs. It just looks like they hate him. He gets his because they need to replace Chubb for a few plays and give him a rest. But Chubb is the guy, and Kareem might be out. Amari Cooper still has so much value. I mean, you look at last week, 0 catches in the first half, and then he had like 15 catches for yards and a touchdown last week in the second half. So he's just a PPR machine. I mean, it's Amari Cooper. Keep him cooking.
The route running savant.
Yeah, I mean, there are not many people that run a better route than Amari. So for me, him and Chubb and Njoku are probably the only starts for me.
Yep.
Baltimore side, obviously Lamar is a start. Bateman is active. Mark is active. So I told you we'll talk about yeah.
What?
Dan just texted me. Dan Dominguez, the Giants fan.
Oh, he's got to get in his weekly smack talk.
Yeah, he just said, "Let's go Giants." Because I don't get it. I don't know why the money's away from the Giants. And he's happy that we supported them a little bit. Go Giants! So I'll cheer for him. That's NFC East. So Ravens, I'll tell you who my guy is. So Kenyon Drake had all the value last week, but I don't think that's where the value is this week. I think it's Gus Edwards. And the big reason why is statistics, right? So there's only been 2 players to ever average more than 5 yards per carry in their career. And the 2 players are Gus Edwards. And do you know who the other one is, Deuce?
Well, I was looking at something. What's the question?
So there have only been 2 players to average over 5 yards per carry during their career. And they're active. The first one is Gus Edwards. Who's the second?
Saquon Barkley.
It is not Barkley.
Chubb.
It's Nick Chubb. Okay, I got a question from somebody. They need a defense, and this is who they have that they can drop. Terry McLaurin, Drake London, Jamal Williams, Romeo Doubs, Brian Robinson, Donta Foreman, Gallup.
Well, it's pretty deep. I mean, that's a pretty deep bench. I mean, I'm impressed at the bench depth there.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would drop Foreman just because I think you could get him back. It's a tough matchup, so no one's going to get him this week. I think you could get him back next week.
Yeah, I think he probably has the least value on that team. The only other one to be Jamal. He's also got a tough matchup, and Swift comes back.
But even when Swift was in, Jamal was the one scoring the rushing touchdowns.
Right. I just think it gets muddied once they come back.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The other thing would be the possibility at Gallup, but, I mean, the man's got 15 targets over 2 games.
And with Dak coming back, you would think he would be trending up.
But
for me, it was between Gallup and Foreman.
Yeah, I think Gallup's got the Dak connection too, though. I think it depends on the starters, right? So he's got ETN in the flex. Let me see what the rest of the starters look like. I would probably say Foreman as well. The starters are Dameon Pierce, Breece Hall, Devontae, CD, Hurst, and ETN. So you're a little questionable at running back because, I mean, we love Breece and Dameon, but there are question marks still on those 2. But ETN as well. So you have running back, but wide receiver you're never going to use. You have Devontae, CD, and A.J. Brown, and Scary Terry, and London.
if you have CD, wouldn't the answer then be Gallup? Because what's the point of having CD and Gallup?
Yes, that's probably where I would go as well. Having CD and Gallup is going to be harder than having the potential Donta Foreman. However, I don't see Foreman. Let's be honest. I think it's Foreman. I don't see Foreman doing good through the rest of the season. Like, who's going to have more trade value, right? Donta Foreman or Michael Gallup?
It depends on how Foreman does in this first game, and probably not well. So I would probably say Gallup.
Yeah,
because he plays the Bucs. Foreman had a good stretch run last year. I think he's capable. I just think it's a bad week.
I think you do Gallup probably. And the other question, looking at this team, we've got Etienne starting, but we have Drake London on the bench. Do we play Drake London over Etienne? Etienne faces that Giants defense.
And Drake London's against the Bengals.
Hey, what's your betting record for the season right now?
16-11. I'd probably pick Etienne, to be honest with you. I think it's close, and I usually give the nod to the running back in that situation.
Where'd you finish last season? What was your betting?
I think it was like 51-43 or something like that. Yeah, 51-43. Locks finished at 71%. I haven't really tracked the locks this year. I think there were 2 weeks where I didn't even do locks, so.
Yeah. All right, so Gallup it is.
Yeah, to me, with CD on the team, it doesn't make sense.
To have both, yeah. I mean, you're not going to play both. And I don't think he's ever going to play him. He's got Devontae, CD, and A.J. Brown. So you're never going to play Gallup. So you may wind up playing
Foreman. Just not this week. Did they say what defenses? Did they have a question about what defenses or no?
Let me see.
Or was it just who to drop?
I think your locks are 3-1 this year, buddy, because you've had 4 locks in the 7 weeks.
All right. I'll take your word for it.
Pretty sure. He's going to grab the Dolphins defense.
That's fair. I mean, Pittsburgh's offense hasn't done anything, so I think he's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. We were just starting the Ravens and the Browns. And we were talking about the Browns, and we switched over to the Ravens, and Fantasy Pros has Bateman rated at ranked at wide receiver 38. I don't know if this was with the injury considering.
Yeah.
My question is, where would you move him? Obviously, he's not wide receiver 38. So what would you have him at now that he's active?
Let's see. So, I mean, 38's not a rough spot for him. He's in that Claypool, Mooney range, a little behind Robert Woods, DJ Moore. It's hard for me to bring him into the top 20 because I don't think he's more valuable. So I dropped Sutton down because Sutton doesn't need to be at 19. Just with what's his name out with Wilson. But I don't think he's more valuable than guys like Deontay, Drake London, Romeo Doubs, Gallup.
Can we talk about how this man has 22 yards of reception?
That's wild.
But he's only caught 11 of his 22 targets.
Yeah, because it's just long heaves, hope they're there. I mean, I think he's in that range. I think he can come to 25-ish, be with the Drake London, Romeo Dobbs of the world. But I don't see him getting much better than that just because they don't pass it as often. Mark Andrews still there, stuff like that. So
I would have him right behind Gallup,
yep,
in front of DJ Moore. So that would be 31.
yeah, I agree with you there. And I'm going to go Ravens on this one. I just think the rushing upside is. I'm going to go Cleveland. Fuck it.
I got another question for you.
I love
I
it.
think we both favor Gus, but is Kenyon Drake startable as a flex player? He's been playing well.
He has been playing well, and I think the receiving will be there because Gus is not a receiving back. We know that.
No.
I think he's got flex value. This is a team that does like to rush the ball a lot. And I think Gus and Kenyon will probably split. It'll lean Gus. Gus will be the better guy. He'll be the red zone guy, stuff like that. But I think the receiving volume's there for Kenyon Drake.
What if I told you Kenyon Drake only had 2 receptions last week or 2 targets?
Yeah, I would say it doesn't matter. Last week he only played the second half, and he broke a massive one. Then they were leading for how much of that game. I mean,
they were leading by double digits, which is why it was crazy the Giants came back.
Yeah, I mean they were up 20-7, right, at one point, or 20-10. I think they started getting away from the receiving, and they passed it around a lot too. It looks like 8 different guys caught a ball. I think he gets going at receiving wise. I just think he was too good rushing last week, and they just kept feeding him rushing wise and didn't need to use him in the receiving game. But I think that changes this week. I am going to go Cleveland Browns though.
I'm going to go Ravens because the defense has gotten better. The defense was the concern for their team. I think Lamar just had a rough game last game. I think he gets back to his usual form. So I'll go Ravens.
Well, you sold me. I'm going to go Ravens with you then. All right, I got another start sits. People are texting me. It works out great.
Let's go.
We have Romeo Dobbs, Deontay Johnson, Drake London.
Repeat that. Sorry.
Romeo Dobbs, Deontay Johnson, Drake London.
What is this? Pick 2?
Pick 1.
Romeo Dobbs, Deontay Johnson, and who else?
Drake London.
Okay. Drake London's playing the Bengals. Deontay Johnson's playing the Dolphins. And Dobbs is playing the Commanders.
Mm-hmm. I think it's London, and I don't think it's that close.
I was going to say London or Dobbs. I think London has the touchdown.
London's at 25, Dobbs is at 26, and Deontay is at 23. So they're all clustered together, but I think it's London. I think the volume is there for London.
I agree. Well, and he has more touchdown upside than Dobbs.
Yep. Jets Broncos, because it's Jets Broncos, dude.
I had someone ask me a question, but I pretty much answered it myself. But I guess for just confirmation purposes, my friend needed a defense and he didn't know who to drop. So
I would argue that the hardest part of fantasy is drop keep.
Yeah.
I think that's actually harder than anything.
His bench is Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown because they're on buys. Khalil Herbert, Drake London, DJ Moore, Michael Carter, Rashad Bateman, and Waller. And I said Michael Carter.
Yeah, I think it's Carter or Khalil Herbert for me. I would probably lean Khalil just because I would rather have, if Monty goes down or if Breece Hall goes down, I think I would rather have Michael Carter. Because I like what Khalil did, but that team just looks so bad. I don't like the Bears team, so I just don't want a player on it.
That's fair. I mean, I don't. Yeah, it's tough to say because I think we've seen both of them do well given opportunity. I just feel like Herbert's a machine though when he gets his. Carter's like Carter does well, but Herbert just seems to put up like 15 to 20 something points every time.
He does, and I think you could make the argument for either one. I just don't like that Bears team. In order for him to put up the 15 to 20, he needs the carries, which they'll give him, but they're losing most of their games, so then they're going to be a passing team, and he can still get the receptions. But the big thing is the touchdowns got to be there, and that team doesn't score many touchdowns.
You're right. Yep. Yeah, the volume's more favorable towards Herbert, but how meaningful is that volume? How many yards per carry will he get, and will he get in the end zone? So, yeah, I feel like you said, you can make an argument either way.
Yeah. So the person with the Gallup situation is not worried about who he would play, but more worried about who other people would get. So he would prefer to not let other people get Gallup versus, the potential.
I think we're ahead on the Foreman stuff. I don't think people will be going out and getting Foreman, especially with them playing the Bucs this week.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's either one. You could drop Foreman or Gallup. Jets versus Denver Broncos. Who's Denver's backup quarterback?
I think Brett Rippon.
Cal Ripken. I'm not playing a single Denver Bronco player. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't want anything with Jerry Jeudy. I don't want any of Sutton. I don't want a single player. Russ hasn't been cooking, and you think Cal Ripken's going to cook? Hell no.
Sutton was barely returning value with Russell Wilson in. So if Russell Wilson's not even in, I would tend to stay away as well. The Jets defense isn't bad either. Those corners are doing very well. So that just provides further.
Jets side, Breece Hall's the guy. I mean, he finally is producing like the first round talent he is. It kind of sucks for Michael Carter owners. We saw Elijah's getting traded. Garrett Wilson's a fucking stud. Zach Wilson loves him. Hey, keep up. I would play Garrett Wilson. I would play Breece Hall.
I second that. Denver's defense is tough, but
if you're struggling, but probably not Conklin.
Not Conklin unless Flacco's playing.
Yeah. If Flacco comes back, though, Conklin's the guy.
Facts.
Pretty easy. You taking the Jets?
Yes, I am.
Bro, watch the fucking Broncos win, and then there'd be the controversy of is Cal Ripken better than Russell Wilson?
Can you stop calling him Cal Ripken?
This is just an interesting game, right? So the Texans versus the Raiders both only have one win. But this Raiders team is astronomically better than this Texans team.
But one win is the only thing they have in common.
Yeah, I mean, the Texans have Cooks who don't get me wrong, we like Cooks. We've been big fans of Cooks for basically his whole career, since his days in New Orleans and New England. And you're a huge Dameon Pierce fan. If you guys listen to the preseason pod, the man right here nailed Dameon Pierce. You guys, this is why you listen, because shit like this, you'll get Dameon Pierce, you'll get Alec Pierce, and You'll get Dameon Pierce, you'll get Alec Pierce, you'll get guys like Romeo Dobbs, you'll get,
Ramondre Stevenson.
Ramondre, who, again, Deuce nailed pretty much on the dot. Raheem Mostert, who they were both nailed. So, these are points to listen. I'm just not trying to hype up the show at all, but we do nail guys every now and then. And Isaiah Pacheco, we haven't talked about him, but nailed him as well. We've been calling for him to be the starter. Said he would be. We told you avoid CEH. So Dameon Pierce, I continue to start. Brandon Cooks, low end flex option.
We said that we all agree that Cook should have been sold high after the Chargers game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I actually sold Cooks in a league. It's worth it to get rid of him, but he does still have low end flex value.
Yeah, for sure. But Nico's the up and comer.
Yeah, and that's the other one. I mean, Deuce has been on Nico since last year. Drafted him in our Dynasty League. Been a big Nico fan as well. But Raiders, I think you're going to have this one. Derek Carr is a better quarterback. Devontae's a better wide receiver than anyone they have. Renfro's a better wide receiver. There is some frustration going on that team, so look for them not to be as explosive, but they're going to get it back together. This may be when they make their run. I mean, we looked at last year; they went 8 straight to make the playoffs. So look for another big run here, and I think this will start it off. Also, let me tell you, Josh Jacobs will finish as RB1 this week. So if you have Josh Jacobs, start his ass. If you don't, not many people were big on Josh Jacobs at the beginning of the year, but this guy was. I think we talked about it early on. Big on Josh Jacobs. I think he's going to make moves. So I'm playing him for sure.
So Renfro's expected to suit up and Waller's out.
Yeah, and then Waller's out. But I still think this team is going to be just fine with or without Waller.
They're used to dealing with him being out anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, Josh Jacobs is a smash. He's about to go off.
He's a must start.
And if you haven't been starting him, what are you doing? He's like 6 or 7, isn't he? RB6, RB7.
I would say he might even be further than that. He's 7, yeah. But he's dropped 2 back-to-back 30-point games, so keep an eye on the boy.
Gross.
Yeah, just nasty. All right, so we will continue on because I think that one's a pretty wash, right?
With tight end being as murky as it is, would you start Foster Moreau?
So I thought about Foster. He actually played decently well last year when he came in to replace Waller as well. The only problem is the way that they've run Waller this year doesn't give me any confidence in Foster, right? So if Waller was getting 30 points a game, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm all in on Foster. But Waller's had 8. Foster's worse than Waller, so Foster will have 4 or 5. So
yeah, Foster has typically done well when he's had to come in and fulfill a role. So I guess it was with tight end as being as murky as it is, I thought I would ask. And since they're playing the Texans, that's another reason.
I like it. Seattle has been cooking with Geno. They lost last week, but they've still been cooking. And the Chargers. This is a high scoring game. I think the over under here is.
I think it's 50.5.
Yeah, so it's our highest of the week. And I think it'll shape up to be that, right? So I think this is going to be a fantasy playground for people. Ken Walker has looked incredible.
I think you could start anybody in this game with pretty high confidence.
Yeah, that was going to be my thing. So Ken Walker, Tyler Lockett, Geno, DK, Herbert, Mike. So Keenan Allen, that's the question.
That is.
What do you think?
You know what I think. The first game back, if he's playing the first game back off an injury, especially with a hamstring, that thing could re-aggravate in the first quarter. So I'm not risking it.
Yeah, and again, I think it goes back to our earlier discussion of the first game back, and it's a major muscle group or a major bone group, right? So, first game back, we're not playing those guys. I know Keenan's been an animal for years. He's good. He gets his when he plays. And it's nice. If you play him and he gets you 15, 20 points, it's great. However, if you don't play him and he gets that, but you play somebody, like let's say you play him and he gets 18 and you've got a guy that gets you 15. That's a lot better than the potential of, getting what? 5 if he gets hurt, less. I don't know. I think I'm avoiding him one more week. I just want to see him get out there, be healthy, and have a full healthy day.
Also, if you're a Keenan Allen fantasy manager, you've managed without him for weeks now. So
right, and I mean, unless your whole team's on bye and you're hurting and all that, then yeah, I get it. If you're playing, so who do you play over him? Are you playing a Dobbs, London, Terry McLaurin, Deontay over him?
I don't even see Keenan in the rankings.
No, I'm just saying, where do you put him? Because I don't think he is in the rankings because he was ruled out originally.
I would say in front of Curtis Samuel, but George Pickens is right behind Samuel, and I think I'd rather play Pickens than Allen.
Yeah, I think
I'd rather play Pierce than Keenan Allen too, but I would rather play Allen than Jerry Jeudy.
Yeah, I think this is not as updated, so I'm taking Jerry Jeudy down, dropping Jeudy for sure. He's in that range again where we talked about the same thing with like the Bateman, right?
Oh, he's at 41 right now.
Oh, is he? Oh, he's at 45 for me. Yeah, I mean, and they've got Garrett Wilson here at 45. Like, that's interesting to me.
I think he's placed appropriately though, like high 30s, low 40s.
Again, he's coming back from this injury. I avoid him. I love Keenan. I love what he can do. I'm just gonna avoid him for one more week. If you can survive, unless you're 0-5 and you just or 0-6 and you just got to take a shot and you're hoping to God that you can win it. But let's say you're 4-3 or even 3-4. I think you're okay. Yeah, my buddy Dan, I think he said he's going to sit him, and I think that's the better play because we've seen guys show up. I mean, T. Higgins last week looked like he was pretty. Chuba Hubbard announces the starter. Wow.
Well, going back to your friend's earlier question, now it's definitely Foreman. Or no. No, I think I'd still drop Gallup.
Yeah, I think Chuba's struggled. Announced as starter. Interesting. Amon is back. Avoid John Taylor, though. Will be limited. That's actually huge.
I think with Keenan though, you could find someone else to get you those 10 to 15 points. I think
right. I think an Alec Pierce type, a Romeo Dobbs. Let's see. I'll tell you who's available in just a random 10, 12 person league. Team players, wide receivers. A Zay Jones, a Claypool, a Wan'Dale Robinson. I think, and a Nico Collins. I think, and Devin Duvernay. I think all of them are strong potential. I think all of those guys are strong potential. Type it in the chat. So I think any of those guys are strong potential to do what Keenan's doing as well. Just because I don't like the injury, and I'm avoiding the re-risk. I'm a big fan of limiting my risk, especially with fantasy. And are we both going Chargers?
No, I'm going Seahawks. I think I have to fix my pick 'em, but I would rather go Seahawks.
Interesting. I think I'm going to stick with Chargers. I think it's a high scoring game, but I'm going to go Chargers.
The Chargers just find a way to lose. So
that they do. Next up, we have Kansas City and San Francisco. Interesting game. San Fran balled out and went and got CMC. They gave up. So, fun fact, they have conditional picks from losing their coaches, and that is it for this season.
Oh, I picked the Seahawks originally. Never mind, we're good. Sorry, what?
San Fran, they only have conditional picks. That's it.
Oh, my.
Yeah, so we have San Fran, Kansas City. CMC, I don't think is going to be a huge factor this week.
I think Jeff Wilson's startable for this last week.
Yeah, I think Jeff Wilson will still be that guy that kind of eases him in, right? So he sorry.
ETN.
Okay, here we go. All right, so we got a question. Let me pop it up on the screen. Boom. All right, so we have Pachenko against the San Fran and their very good defense. It's non-PPR or ETN against the Giants. Non-PPR.
Man, I think I'm still taking ETN.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with you. I think ETN probably gets more, again, and we talked about it a little bit earlier, the Giants, 5 yards per carry to opposing running backs. And I think ETN probably has a little bit more value. I love Pacheco. I like that he's getting the start. But we saw CH get the start last week and come out with 3 points. We've seen Jerick McKinnon get more touches and still only have 5 points. So I don't think instant start with Kansas City warrants instant fantasy start. I do like Pacheco, but I think the San Fran D is a little too good as well. So it is going to be a little tough for him to carve out those fantasy points, especially non-PPR, because he's not going to get any of those catches for many points, any dump downs, and that's also going to hurt ETN a little bit, but I still think ETN finds a way to get more value. Plus, we look at ETN, and he's had 50, 60-yard rushes over the last couple of weeks where he's broken one. So I think he's still a little bit more explosive as well. But usage-wise, because I still don't like Kansas City's usage.
And I'm sure you could look this up on a bookie website, but I think ETN has considerably higher odds to get into the end zone too, which is what you need ultimately in a non-PPR league.
And we can look at it. Let's see.
Kansas City likes to throw and do those gadget plays on the goal line, so I'm not even –
player prop. Pacheco. So, and Vegas has got a good way. I mean, they know their shit. So Pacheco's rushing yards is 33. And his rushing and receiving is 43. And his touchdown is 0.5. So, again, I think, I think the play is to go with ETN. No problem, Steve. I love you. Be good. Hopefully that helps your start set. There we go. So that was good. Back to that San Fran game, and that's funny. We just talked about Pacheco. I think Jeff Wilson still has a little bit of value. Obviously, flex. I don't think he's an RB2 this week. CMC will get his, but I think they ease him in. They're not going to try to overuse CMC either. My big thing I'm scared is the injury, man. San Fran running backs have just had the worst luck out of any running back core ever. And I sent the thing to you guys the other night of all of their injuries, and I don't wish an injury on CMC, but it almost looks like it's going to happen. Just based on the luck. I mean, we've seen it this year with Elijah Mitchell's already gone down. 2019, you had Tevin Coleman. He suffered a high ankle sprain, missed 7 games.
Mostert.
He had a knee. And then Jerick McKinnon tore his ACL in the preseason.
And Mostert.
2020, Tavon Austin, he had his massive leg injury. You had JaMycal Hasty, he had a knee injury. And then Mostert had 2 separate injuries. Last year, Jeff Wilson Jr. got injured, and then we saw Mostert get injured on ACL for the first of the play of the season. Then Hasty had an ankle sprain. Then Elijah Mitchell came in, was great. He had a shoulder injury. And then this year we have Mostert, who's been a little banged up. Mitchell's already out with a knee injury. So it's just scary as a CMC owner. I might try to trade him away. And I know it's hard to do because it's like, shit, it's CMC. He's finally on a great team. But I honestly would almost rather the value that he could give you in return. Because, you can get some serious value for him. Like, let's say you get,
we talked about it on another episode. We talked about getting a possible first-round receiver or a late first-round, early second-round running back that was drafted this year.
Right. Yeah, you're getting a guy like get an Eckler plus or a Josh Jacobs plus assets. Like if you could get a Josh Jacobs, a CeeDee Lamb, and a mid-tier tight end, you transformed your team, and you don't have to worry about the injury risk. Stuff like that. You got to get good value for him, but I would be trying to sell him.
Especially off of the hype that he's going to a run-first, outside zone rushing team.
Yeah. So the hype's there, though. We like the hype.
My question about this game is the Kansas City receivers. I feel like that was just
it's a shit show.
Revolving puzzle.
Oh, San Fran, I think obviously Debo, Ayuk, CMC low end flex, Jeff Wilson low end flex. And then I've got a little bit of favor for Jimmy G this week. I think he's a great streaming option. Kansas City, the receivers. That's hard, right? Is it going to be MVS? Is it going to be Juju? Is it going to be Sky Moore, who we've been waiting to pop out? It is time, and I think they're starting to move to Pacheco, right? Why? Because they want to see what they got. They're 4-2, but they want to see what they got. And I think the same thing with Sky Moore. I think they just dim. That's weird. I think they're going to do that, right? I think the Sky Moore time is upon us, and I think Sky Moore is going to break out in the next week or two. So just be ready for it.
I like hearing you say that. If I had to, I would probably start Juju, but I wouldn't feel good about doing it. I'd probably start someone else in the flex that had a better matchup.
Oh,
but I'm not great about it.
Christian Kirk, Ayuk, or Deontay Johnson? So we talked about Jacksonville earlier. I'm probably not playing Christian Kirk until I see who the guy in Jacksonville is. Deontay, I'm also kind of hesitant on because I kind of want to see who the guy is in Pittsburgh, right? Because it's been Claypool the last 2 weeks. Prior to that, it was Deontay. Prior to that, it was George Pickens. So I'm actually probably going to go Brandon Ayuk. I think this Kansas City San Fran game is going to be a big game. It actually has a 49.5 point over-under. And so I think there's going to be value to go around. Obviously, Debo, CMC are going to be and Kittle are going to both be valuable. But I do think Ayuk has his area where he can do it. And I think with CMC, it's going to open it up a little bit more for him too, right? Because as scary as Jeff Wilson is, CMC's a hell of a lot scarier. So they're going to have to focus on him a little bit more. He gets out there. I think Ayuk and Debo are going to get wide open on those plays.
I 100% agree with you. I would go with Ayuk as well.
That's a cute little picture of me too. Look at me with my little fish. Big old salmon. Yeah. So, two more. Steelers, Miami. I want to go to this game. I might go to this game if it's cheap. Tua comes back. I think that's big things for Waddle and Tyreek Hill. I am a little hesitant playing Tua. Last time you played him right after that concussion, he got hit on like the 5th or 6th play, and then he had another concussion. So a little hesitant there, but I still think Waddle and Tyreek Hill have their value, even if Tua does re-injure himself. Teddy Bridgewater's great. Skylar Thompson's been okay. Running back wise, you might have to start Mostert. I don't know. I don't think I'm starting Mostert unless I'm struggling for a running back. I think he's a low-end flex as well.
Minka's off the injury report. He was hurt last year. So
that's pretty big.
To me, that plays a little bit of a factor here.
Yeah.
I try to stay away from the Dolphins backfield just in general.
I do too.
I think if you're desperate, I think you could play him.
R.I.P. Chase Edmonds, though. Just his term was short.
It was very short. Dan and I tried to tell you.
I know you did. I got another question. What do we think of Cooks versus a bad secondary or Drake London, who hasn't been able to produce as of late? Kind of covered a little bit earlier. I'm still riding with Drake London. I think he's in a better situation than Cooks. The volume's going to be there. I don't mind Cooks, but that team has moved to rushing the ball. It's what they want to do. And Deuce, you kind of talked about it a little bit as well, the emergence of Nico Collins. So Cooks is still there, but I'm riding Drake London. He's the clear-cut one versus Cooks, who's kind of there, but he's a
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you again. I'm going Drake London. The target share is higher for Drake London than it is for Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
The only thing I would be worried about is how much Atlanta throws per game. I think it's like a little bit over 22. So that's obviously a concern.
Yeah, but if you're getting 50% of those 22, I'm happy,
Right, yeah, and also they're playing a good offense today, so they might have to throw more than that. And last time I saw, London was at like a 32% target share, so I can't really shy away from that.
Yeah. Let's finish Steelers. Najee, I think you're still starting.
You got another question.
Yeah, I'll pull that one up in a second. Najee, low-end RB2 for me. I don't think you can drop him to that flex category yet.
No.
He's still there. Wide receiver wise, I think that room's a whole mess. I'd like for it to get cleared out, but right now I'm going to say Chase Claypool's the favorite.
I am not even going to comment until I see more, so we can just move on.
Yeah.
Friar-Mears.
Okay, so we have Giants Jacksonville over under 44. The Giants, these have been good this year. However, they haven't stopped points, right? So they do allow points. Last week they gave up 20. Week before that they gave up 20. Week before that they gave up 12 to the worst team in the fucking league, the Bears.
The Bears.
Week before that they gave up 20 to Dallas. Week before that they gave up 16 to the second worst team in the league, the Panthers. And week before that they gave up 20 to the Titans, who were also pretty trash. So, yeah, I think they can give up 20. Now we look at what Jacksonville's done. They've given up 34. They've given up 13. And they've given up 29. 10 to the Chargers. So they're kind of hit or miss.
Yeah.
And then 0. So give me, I think that one probably goes over. I think it's slightly over because, I mean, that's only like a 20-20 game, right, for 44, 24-20. I think, they both want to run the ball.
I mean, so did them and the Ravens. And the Ravens lost 24 to 21.
20, so it hit.
Or 20, yeah.
20, so it was right on it. I think we go the under.
Yeah, I don't think I believe in the Jags offense as much as I did the Ravens. So I'll go under as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the under for the 44. One more question. CMC with his new team or Keenan Allen off an injury if he's playing. So confirm Keenan Allen will be playing. This is
I hate this question.
Do you have anybody else? I mean, do you have anyone else?
We need to know what plan 3 is.
Because if there's a third plan, I would highlight that. Well, Kansas City, San Fran over under 49. So that's a big game. San Fran's got a solid defense, but in Kansas City doesn't. So the backup is Deontay Johnson and Drake London. We'll cover that first. So it's basically pick one: Keenan, CMC, Deontay, or Drake London.
I'd be playing London.
I honestly think I'd probably play London. I think my hierarchy would be London,
Keenan,
CMC, Deontay.
I would do London, Keenan,
Deontay,
Johnson, and then CMC.
Yeah. I think I have CMC last just because of
he just got there on Thursday, and
I do think they try to get CMC involved though.
Yeah, they said he was going to be on. They said he was going to be on a pitch count.
Yeah, I think Keenan's probably your best gamble. So, like, if you really need the win or you're projected to lose, yeah, I know it's tough benching CMC, but I do think the bench plays out. I mean, you got to think, what's he going to do? Is he gonna play the full game? Probably not. He doesn't know the offense yet. Kyle Shanahan's a wizard, and he'll probably try to get him involved, but you're taking a huge risk. And the big thing with fantasy, limit the risk, right? So you want to kind of limit those risks to the point where what you're going to get.
It's not really about limiting you want to limit the risk, but like more importantly, you want to make the most well-informed decision that you possibly can.
Yeah, I agree. Kansas City, San Fran over under 49.
I'm gonna go under again.
Yeah.
Bills and Chiefs was only 24-21.
Yeah, and that was two much more high-powered offenses.
And San Fran's defense is better than. Well, I put San Fran's D in the same tier as Buffalo's. So
yeah, so I could see this going under as well. I wouldn't be mad about this going under. All right, Deuce, you want to hit your bets of the week?
Yeah, because we got a skedaddle.
Yeah, we do. Text them. Did you already text them to me?
No, I didn't. I have them in the notes.
I'll post it up on the thing.
You want to just post them when I say them? Would that be easier? Or can I text you afterwards?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so I'm going KC -1 at 49ers, okay. Giants +3 at Jags.
Hey, Giants, all right.
Cowboys covering the 7 against the Lions, Jets -2 at Broncos, and then the Seahawks and the Chargers to go over 50.5.
Nice, I like it. Can we build a parlay? Let's see. Hold on. Let's build a parlay. Yeah.
Yeah. What you thinking?
We
definitely agree on the Giants one. You could probably do the Giants money line.
That's what I'm thinking.
And then the Jets money line too. Take 2 New York money lines.
I want to see what a parlay calculator. Here we go. All right. So Let's take. Oh, what? It doesn't let me like. Is there a place where I can like fucking fake pick? Come on.
The Giants ones. That one will be my lock.
Yeah,
that's the lock.
I like that as well. Let's see that calculator. I don't have an account, so I can't log into anything right now. It's so annoying. All right, we'll just kind of come up with our parlay together then.
Do you want me to see what it would be? Is that what we're trying to figure out?
Yeah, you can do that. You've got the.
Yeah, let me just see real quick.
There we go. I like that. All right, so I would say let's do this. Let's do.
Give me a sec. I'm not there yet. All right.
I like Giants money line for sure. Detroit, Dallas. We like the over or the under? We like the under, right? 49.5. That's a lot of points.
Hold on. You said under for the. I thought we were doing the spread for the Cowboys.
We'll do the spread. We'll take the Cowboys -7.
All right, so I have Giants money line and Cowboys -7 right now.
Yeah, we like the under for San Fran, didn't we?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll add that under on there.
All
and
right.
then you like the Washington upset, right?
I wouldn't bet on it.
Okay. You have any other upsets?
I had. No, I did 3 favorites, an upset, and then over under.
Yeah. So let's see. What upsets do we like? Well, obviously the Giants upset.
Really they have the Seahawks on here at +4.5.
Yeah, I got them at -5 for the Chargers. I could take that upset.
They don't have to be upsets, though. I mean, a parlay. I mean, I'd rather do what.
Oh, you take the points?
I mean, no. I mean, I'm like confident in the Jets, though.
Oh yeah. Okay. So let's go Jets. We'll take the points with the Jets.
I'm doing money line with the Jets.
Money line Jets? Well, no. I mean, if it's 2.5 or it's money line, let's take the 2.5. We'll take the points because it's better money, right? Because it'll be -145 or -115. So let's do that and let's see what that puts us at.
So the Giants money line, Cowboys -7, under 49 for the Chiefs, Niners, and then Jets by 2.5. It's +1,549. So if you put $5 in, you'd be getting 78.
70, yeah. Jets -2.5. Oh, yeah, that's 4-game parlay. I like that. I think that's a nice little parlay in there. You know, you're not going to get $100, but $5 gets you 80. I'm cool with that. Good shit, boys. All right. Well, we appreciate everybody tuning in. Any other questions, drop them in. We'll try to get them, if you drop them. But thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And good luck this week in fantasy, man.
Yeah, you too, bud.
Like the outro? No, good cast. Good luck, guys. May the odds never be in your favor.